Imagine you're in the middle of a heated argument with someone you love. Your emotions are running high, words are flying, and before you know it, you've both said things you regret. Have you ever wondered why, despite caring so deeply about someone, conflict still arises and relationships suffer? What if there was a way to build stronger relationships by mastering our emotions and understanding ourselves and others better? In today's video, we're going to explore ancient Stoic wisdom that offers us profound insights into building more meaningful, deeper, and resilient relationships. This isn't just about romantic love. Stoicism teaches us how to improve friendships, family bonds, and even our professional relationships. Stick around, and by the end of this video, you'll have actionable steps to build lasting connections with those around you, guided by the timeless principles of Stoicism. Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy founded in the early 3rd century BC by Zeno of Citium. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that the path to a good life lies in mastering our emotions, focusing on what we can control, and accepting what we cannot. This philosophy revolves around practicing virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. In today's fast-paced world, the wisdom of Stoic philosophers such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus is more relevant than ever. Their teachings offer a way to navigate life's challenges with grace, particularly in our relationships. Whether it's dealing with difficult emotions, responding to conflicts, or simply learning to be present with those we care about, Stoicism provides timeless guidance. Dichotomy of control in relationships. One of the central teachings of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control. This principle teaches us that in life, there are things we can control and things we cannot. When applied to relationships, this wisdom can be transformative. Think about it. How often do we try to control the actions, thoughts, or feelings of our loved ones? Stoicism reminds us that we have no control over other people's behaviors. Instead, we should focus on controlling our own actions, reactions, and perceptions. By doing so, we can relieve ourselves of unnecessary frustration and resentment. For example, if your partner or friend does something that bothers you, instead of reacting impulsively, a Stoic would pause and reflect, "Is this within my control?" By focusing on what you can influence, your response, your emotions, you gain power over the situation without trying to change the other person. This shift in mindset can diffuse conflicts before they even begin. Practicing virtue for stronger relationships. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on living virtuously. In relationships, this means practicing virtues like wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Here's how each can strengthen your bonds. Wisdom, the ability to understand others and see things from their perspective. By applying wisdom, you're not quick to judge. You seek to understand the person's intent behind their actions. Justice, treat others fairly and with respect, regardless of how they treat you. Justice in relationships ensures that you are doing what's right, even if it's difficult. Courage, the courage to be vulnerable, to forgive, and to have difficult conversations rather than avoiding them. Temperance, practicing self-control and moderation. In relationships, this often means resisting the urge to react emotionally and instead responding with thoughtfulness and patience. When you consistently embody these virtues, you become a stabilizing force in your relationships, fostering trust and deeper connection. Emotional mastery in relationships. Stoicism teaches us that emotions themselves are not the problem. It's how we handle them. In relationships, emotions can run high, especially when conflicts arise. But instead of letting anger, jealousy, or frustration dictate our behavior, Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and choose a rational response. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, often reflected on the importance of not allowing others to disturb our inner peace. In relationships, this means not reacting impulsively to the actions or words of others. When someone upsets you, instead of reacting immediately, take a moment to assess the situation. Ask yourself, is this worth my emotional energy? Is this something I can control? This practice of emotional mastery helps in diffusing conflicts, creating an environment where both parties feel heard and respected. By controlling our reactions, we become less likely to escalate tensions, leading to healthier, more constructive discussions. Changing perspective for deeper connections. One of the most powerful tools in Stoicism is the ability to change your perspective. Often, conflicts in relationships arise because we see things only from our own point of view. Stoicism teaches us to step back and look at situations objectively. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." This means that often, it's not the situation itself that causes us distress, but how we perceive it. In relationships, when disagreements occur, try to view the situation from the other person's perspective. What are they feeling? What experiences or beliefs are shaping their actions? By shifting your perspective, you foster empathy and understanding, which are essential for resolving conflicts and strengthening your relationship. Instead of seeing the other person as the enemy in an argument, you begin to see them as someone with their own fears, desires, and concerns, just like you. Building romantic relationships with Stoicism. Romantic relationships can be some of the most fulfilling yet challenging relationships we encounter. Stoicism offers valuable insights into how we can cultivate deeper, more meaningful romantic connections. Communication. Stoics believe in clear, honest communication. By practicing transparency and speaking truthfully yet kindly, you can avoid misunderstandings. Instead of bottling up emotions, communicate openly but rationally, ensuring that both partners feel heard and understood. Patience. Patience is a Stoic virtue that can deepen a relationship. No one is perfect, and disagreements are inevitable. By exercising patience and not rushing to judgment or action, you allow space for growth and understanding. Handling conflict. Conflicts are inevitable in any relationship, but Stoicism teaches us to approach these moments with calmness and logic rather than emotion. The next time a disagreement arises, instead of getting swept up in anger or frustration, take a step back, breathe, and approach the situation with reason. Self-reflection. A key Stoic practice is self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your own behavior in the relationship. Are you acting with virtue? Are you controlling what you can and letting go of what you cannot? This habit of reflection helps you grow both as an individual and as a partner. Stoicism in friendships and family relationships. The principles of Stoicism apply just as strongly to friendships and family bonds as they do to romantic relationships. Friends and family are the closest people to us, which often means emotions can run high. Stoicism encourages us to practice empathy and patience in these relationships. Empathy in friendships. Stoicism teaches us to put ourselves in others' shoes. Before reacting to a friend's actions or words, try to understand their perspective. What are they going through? What might be driving their behavior? This understanding can prevent unnecessary conflict and strengthen your bond. Forgiveness and family bonds. Family relationships can be some of the most complex. Stoicism encourages forgiveness and understanding. By accepting others for who they are and not trying to control them, we create an environment where family bonds can flourish without the weight of unrealistic expectations. Daily Stoic practices for building stronger relationships. To truly integrate Stoic wisdom into your relationships, it's essential to practice it daily. The great Stoic philosophers were not merely intellectuals. They believed in the daily application of their teachings. Here are some Stoic practices you can incorporate into your everyday life to build stronger, more meaningful relationships. Journaling. One of the most powerful tools in Stoicism is self-reflection, and journaling is a great way to practice this. Each day, take time to reflect on your interactions with others. Ask yourself, was I patient? Did I listen well? Was I kind and just in my actions? Writing these reflections down allows you to observe patterns in your behavior and identify areas where you can improve. Over time, you'll notice how this simple practice makes you more self-aware and thoughtful in your relationships. Meditation. Meditation, particularly Stoic meditation, is another powerful practice to center your mind and control your emotions. Unlike Eastern meditation, Stoic meditation isn't about clearing your mind, but rather contemplating your day, your decisions, and your reactions. A simple Stoic meditation practice is to reflect on the day ahead in the morning and ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? How can I remain calm and rational when those challenges arise? By mentally preparing for potential conflicts, you'll find yourself responding more calmly when they occur. Negative visualization. One of the most interesting Stoic practices is negative visualization, imagining the worst possible outcomes as a way to appreciate what you currently have. In relationships, this can be a profound exercise. For example, imagine what life would be like without your partner, friend, or family member. This isn't to foster anxiety, but rather to remind yourself of their value in your life. Negative visualization helps you avoid taking people for granted, and it fosters gratitude for the relationships you cherish. Emotional detachment for clarity. In emotionally charged situations, Stoicism teaches us to detach from the intensity of our feelings and observe them from a distance. If you're in the middle of a heated argument, instead of getting lost in your emotions, mentally step back and observe the situation as though you were an outsider. Ask yourself, what's really happening here? Is this conflict as big as it seems, or is my emotional reaction amplifying it? This mental distance allows for clarity, helping you to resolve issues calmly and rationally. Handling rejection and betrayal with Stoicism. Rejection and betrayal are two of the most painful experiences in any relationship. Whether it's being turned down by someone you care about, losing a friend, or being hurt by a loved one, Stoicism offers powerful insights into how to handle these difficult situations. Acceptance of rejection. In relationships, rejection is often seen as a personal failure, but Stoicism teaches us to reframe this mindset. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control the actions or feelings of others, only our own responses. When faced with rejection, instead of internalizing it as a reflection of your worth, practice acceptance. Recognize that rejection is part of life and that it does not define you. Epictetus wisely said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This Stoic approach helps you move forward with grace and resilience, viewing rejection as a natural part of life's process, rather than a catastrophic event. Coping with betrayal. Betrayal can be devastating, especially when it comes from someone close to you. Stoicism encourages us to practice forgiveness and emotional detachment in these moments. While you may not forget the betrayal, Stoicism teaches that holding on to resentment only harms you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, don't let betrayal turn you into a person consumed by anger or bitterness. Instead, take control of your own actions and responses, and choose to rise above the hurt. This doesn't mean you must remain close to those who have wronged you, but you can let go of the negative emotions and move forward with peace and dignity. Letting go of toxic relationships. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to let go of relationships that no longer serve you or that bring negativity into your life. Stoicism helps you approach this difficult decision with clarity and courage. Recognizing toxicity. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what brings us closer to virtue and to distance ourselves from what leads us away from it. In relationships, this means identifying toxic behaviors, whether it's constant negativity, manipulation, or emotional abuse, that harm your well-being. Once you recognize these patterns, Stoicism encourages you to act in accordance with your principles, even if it's difficult. Letting go of toxic relationships isn't easy, but it's often necessary for your own growth and peace of mind. The courage to walk away. Leaving a toxic relationship requires courage, and Stoicism can provide the strength to make that choice. Remember, you cannot change another person, and you are only responsible for your own actions. If a relationship consistently drains your energy or brings you down, it may be time to move on. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." This courage extends to making hard decisions that are ultimately in your best interest. By walking away from what no longer serves you, you create space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships to enter your life. Applying Stoic wisdom in professional relationships. Stoicism isn't just about personal or romantic relationships. It also offers profound insights into how we conduct ourselves in professional environments. Here's how Stoic principles can enhance your work relationships. Fairness and justice in the workplace. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on justice, which in a professional setting means treating your colleagues with fairness and respect. Whether you're managing a team or collaborating with peers, the Stoic principle of justice reminds us to act with integrity. This fosters trust and respect, which are essential for productive and harmonious work relationships. When conflicts arise, instead of focusing on personal grievances, a Stoic would consider what's fair, cultivating gratitude and love. Another essential Stoic practice that can help you love without attachment is the cultivation of gratitude. The Stoics believed that by being grateful for what we have in the present, we can reduce the urge to cling to things out of fear of losing them. Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." This is particularly relevant when it comes to love. When we're truly grateful for the love we have, we can experience it fully in the present without becoming overly attached to what might happen in the future. Gratitude helps us shift our focus from fear of losing the person to appreciation of the moments we share with them. It also reduces the tendency to take our loved ones for granted, which often leads to attachment. By appreciating the relationship for what it is, in this moment, we can let go of the need to control or possess it. Practical tip for cultivating gratitude. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you're grateful for in your relationship. Write down a few things that you appreciate about your partner or the connection you share. This practice helps to focus your mind on the positives of the relationship and encourages you to love without attachment. Letting go of expectations in relationships. One of the biggest causes of attachment in relationships is our expectations. We often have a mental image of how we want our relationship to be, how we expect our partner to behave, and what we believe the future will look like. When reality doesn't align with these expectations, we feel disappointed, frustrated, or anxious. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In relationships, freedom comes from letting go of expectations. When you release the need for your partner to act or feel a certain way, you free yourself from the attachment that often leads to disappointment. By lowering your expectations, or better yet, by accepting the relationship for what it is, rather than what you want it to be, you can love without attachment. This doesn't mean settling for less than you deserve, but rather recognizing that no relationship will be perfect, and no person will fulfill all of your desires or needs. Practical tip for letting go of expectations. The next time you feel frustrated because your partner isn't meeting your expectations, take a step back and ask yourself, is this expectation realistic? Is it something within my control? Often you'll realize that the expectation you've set is based on your own desires, not the reality of who your partner is. By adjusting your expectations, you allow yourself to experience the relationship with more peace and acceptance. The importance of boundaries in loving without attachment. Loving someone deeply doesn't mean losing yourself in the relationship. One of the key ways to maintain a healthy balance between love and independence is by setting clear boundaries. Boundaries ensure that your emotional well-being isn't entirely tied to the relationship, and that both you and your partner have the space to grow as individuals. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of self-respect and personal responsibility. While you should be open and generous in love, you should also respect your own needs and limits. Boundaries help you maintain your sense of self while loving another person. They protect you from over-investing in the relationship to the point where you become emotionally dependent. Practical tip for setting boundaries. Take some time to reflect on what boundaries are important for you in a relationship. This could include maintaining time for yourself, pursuing your own goals, or ensuring that your emotional needs are met in a balanced way. Communicate these boundaries clearly and respectfully to your partner. Healthy boundaries help prevent attachment by ensuring that you retain your individuality and emotional resilience within the relationship. Loving with compassion and detachment. It's important to understand that loving without attachment doesn't mean being cold or detached in the negative sense. Stoicism teaches us that we can still love deeply while maintaining emotional balance. Compassion, understanding, and empathy are essential in any relationship, and Stoicism encourages us to cultivate these qualities. However, detachment means that while we care for the other person and act with kindness, we do not allow our emotional state to be entirely dependent on their actions or the future of the relationship. It's about finding the balance between loving fully and letting go of the need for control or possession. Practical exercise for compassionate detachment. When you're in a difficult moment in your relationship, whether it's a disagreement or feeling overwhelmed by attachment, take a step back and remind yourself of the Stoic principle of detachment.